Hi there, Tim Larsen here with another tutorial video about comics and comic book making. I've had a few new subscribers to this channel and it's been a few months since I've posted a new tutorial, so I feel a little guilty that I get to play a little catch up with you guys. I do appreciate the subscribers I'm getting. I've been working on comics for a long time, since 1990s really, and I want to present to you everything that I kind of picked up along the way, things that I think about, things that are important to remember on all aspects, whether you're a writer, an artist, a colorist, all of this affects you in some way or another. So without any further ado, I wanted to dive into today's topic, which is what is the reality of your comic book? What is the laws of physics that affect everything on the page, and what level are you going to establish and stay with in your comic? And I'll present to you 8 examples of different kinds of laws of physics and realities in comic books and comic strips to give you an idea, get your mind going. And it lines up with basically what the artist presents, of course, but it's also in the writer's imagination as well. At midpoint, I'm going to take a break here and we'll do a comic page critique of artwork from Martin Sedlak, which I picked up on Reddit, and we'll go through that. So without further ado, I want to go to the table here and I'll show you a few examples of what I'm talking about for the reality of your comic and the laws of physics. Okay, so I have 6 examples here in physical form, then we'll switch over to screen grab and I'll walk you through a couple of other examples of physical reality. Let me start out with my comic book, Mayfield 8, and we'll zip right to the page in question. I have right here we have a fight scene with a man trying to beat another guy up with a chain, a little blurred action there, and there's a distraction like a beer bottle getting smashed over his head, as you can see here. Okay, and the beer bottle's real and it's smashing over his head, and the hero of my story escapes to the back room. He's breaking open a door with his foot, and then he's pushing the heavy metal desk to block the door. That's kind of the reality that I established here, that it's physical, it's real, but with a touch of a little bit of flights of fancy. Okay. In comic book time, he had enough time to block the door, even though it's only like about 10 feet away down the hall here. So I'm allowing myself a little poetic license here. But that's the reality of Mayfield 8. Then we go to Shortcomings by Adrian Tamine. And I'll zip right to like a bizarro performance art page right here with all sorts of strange things happening. And that's pretty much the strangest that this book gets. After that, it's a lot of people sitting and talking some more, and walking down the street and talking and more talking, and guess what, more talking and more talking, and there's whispering in the ear. And that's kind of the reality of the story he's presenting, that it's very psychological, it's personal, and not a whole lot of stuff is going to confront the character here. He's not going to get a beer bottle smashed over his head in this one, yeah, I promise you. But in a way, that makes the story more believable and coherent. It's something that that could happen to you or I. It's something that's a little bit approachable. But at any rate, whether you like it or not, that's the reality that Adrian is presenting to you here. Okay? And then we have Sucker by Jason McNamara. And here he has a story of vampires and vampire hunters. And here's this dude right here, who's kind of this average, portly looking guy. He's trapped in an elevator fighting a vampire who's falling down the shaft on top of him right here. And then he cuts the cable. The whole thing plummets. Smash, boom, crash. The hero of the story is flying out the window. He's got a gun that can rappel off the tall building on the outside. He smashes into in a van at the bottom. Okay. And then, okay, here we go. Like right here, we have the elevator doors all crumpled, and the door flops out, and there's the guy who plummeted down the elevator, and he's made it out okay. So that's sucker. That's the laws of physics they're going to be operating in this story, where it's a little bit more rough than mine, Mayfield 8, and it's definitely a lot rougher than Shortcomings, but it's still kind of within the realm of a kind of laws of physics that's believable. All right, and then here is by Jeff Lemire, Black Hammer. That is the story about old superheroes who, under disguise, they reconvene at a barn somewhere, and they keep their past hidden from the public and try to live ordinary, normal lives. And you can tell right by the cover that with this hovering girl here that things are going to be kind of strange. The physicality, the reality of this comic book is made known by scenes like this scene right here, where an astronaut from another dimension pops into this girl. She's actually a grown woman trapped in a girl's body by some misfortune, but see, in a living room here, the floor is just like water, and pop, out he comes from entering into this dimension here. He sees the room, and there he is in the room. So that, in a way, is a way that Jeff and the artist Dean Ormston, they are working on building this kind of reality, this sense of physicality, where I guess for you and I, a rock is a rock, a tree is a tree, water's wet. We can't float on the floor. We can't dive into the floor, but these characters can. So that is the situation that he's kind of developed for that. Also, kind of to put a finer point on the girl, you know, she's musing to herself while this alien guy sitting on the roof of their house, their barn house, she simply can, you know, fly right into the scene and sit down right next to him. And, you know, that's kind of the basis of the reality of this comic, of Black Hammer. Okay. Here we have the Peanuts strip, Charlie Brown, and he is going to kick the ball that Lucy is providing for him. You notice Charles Schulz uses a left to right physical reality in his comic strip. In his earlier ones, he moved a little bit away from that, but pretty much in his older years, as he kept on working on these things, it's a left to right side-scrolling kind of experience. And as you can see at the end here, Charlie Brown fails, and he flips over his head, and he lands on his back because Lucy swiped the ball away from him once again. Okay, now we move over to another kind of reality, this one by Jack Kirby, illustrating the Fantastic Four. Here is the Thing in a jealous rage over the Silver Surfer spending time with his girlfriend. And it couldn't be more innocent. He just simply wanted to talk to her for a little bit. But the Thing hasn't been satisfied with just simply punching him. He's actually physically picking up a building and throwing it at the Silver Surfer, like just smashing everything he can see. And Jack Kirby does this a lot, and sometimes he'll actually have a superhero not even punch the other guy, but he'll like beat his fist to the ground, creating a shockwave which will knock the other guy over. The result of this is that Mr. Fantastic is trying to calm the thing down and talk some sense into him that the Silver Surfer wasn't trying to make time with his girlfriend. But anyway, that's really a different way to think about how the reality of your comic book can be very bizarre. It can be very much altered from one state to another. And that's it. Okay. So, hope you enjoyed that. Let's go to the review of a kind of unnamed, I think it's a 7 or 8 pager. Let me see here. Yeah, 7 pager from Martin Sedlak about a man who befriends a piece of paper. Titled short 8-page strip, which I'm just going to call One Evening because that's the name of the first narration box here. It starts out with a young man at his table drawing on a piece of paper. And the first thing he does, he's complaining about not having any friends. And the next panel, we see his eyes looking down. He's looking down at the paper and he's creating for himself a friend at the bottom. Your name will be Joe. He gets a J on his shirt. And so far so good. It's really well transitioned. Goes from far away to closer, and then the eyes are a nice way to kind of tie it together. This is a good proportion for a pair of eyes, a long, wide, horizontal panel. And also a nice blend of the white gutters separating things. It's got this kind of loose geometric quality to it that's easy on the eyes. It's pretty easy to scan here. And he's kind of sad. He's lying in bed here. He says, I wish I had a real friend. And then, like magic, Joe seems to pop up out of the page. The next morning, he says, get up! And what the hell? Wake up. We're going to school. It's going to be so fun. You're Joe? I drew you yesterday. You're alive? How is that possible? You want a real friend, didn't you? Someone who seems to have listened to your wish. Weird, you're a piece of paper. I must be dreaming. Don't talk nonsense. I'm here, and I'm here for you. Now go get dressed and have breakfast. School won't wait. Okay, so we've got an established situation now. We got him and his friend Joe going off to school. And he's outside the school. He's got his friend. He's going to keep him in his side pocket, his pouch, and this is really good here. The panel of this page, it shows you like a curved window up here. School has never been fun, but today was different. He seems like a likable guy. You don't know why he doesn't have any friends. And then maybe right now, here's where it's in his comic book, this is explaining that. Look, that nerd is talking to himself. Loser, freak. Even though others laughed at me, they didn't like they always did. I didn't notice at all, thanks to Joe. So, okay, this is all one panel here. So they're all laughing. This narration box kind of really gets in the way of being able to see that, though. Let me zoom back on this page. Like this black box here is kind of like all the other ones here, but it almost looks like it's a piece of that furniture. So that should have been moved somewhere. I don't know, maybe taking this panel and scooting it up and giving it a little more room or something so that this box can exist. Or moving all the artwork here on this panel. Oh, sorry, I hit the wrong button. There you go. moving all the work on this panel here, the artwork to the right, and then make this black box more of a vertical chunk on the left so it can exist in this kind of negative space. Like, if imagine we had more negative space here on this page. But it's okay. I mean, it's just a minor thing. Draw me like one of your French girls. He's making a little fun with them now. It's a really cute story, and it's very understandable, easy to scan, easy to read. And then here we have a double page spread where he's got his hood up, he's walking out, he's going for quite a distance here. He's going to the shore, and he's kind of bonding with his friend. This is very adventurous here, from a human anatomy standpoint, trying to do an unusual angle with the face. It's, unless you practice a bit at life drawing from the model, these are very tricky angles to pull off. But I'm glad that that Martin has tried this here, at least given it a shot. You should always work outside of your comfort zone. The rain is not good for Joe. He's starting to, of course, he's a piece of paper. Hurry into the bag, don't get wet. You don't forget me. So it's a little bit like Frosty the Snowman here. Joe doesn't really live very well outside the paper. I wonder if this needed to be a double page deal, or if it could have been, simply one page to the next page. Maybe this panel here somehow, this one with the ocean, could have been made bigger, could have been worked out a little more. Like, let's say everything on the left side here was your standard panel, and then we get to the ocean view. That could have been the top half of this right page. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. Something to make that bigger. And then finally to the last page. I won't leave you. You're my only friend. He's saving him. It's a piece of paper. And I don't think he made it. But there's a happy ending at the end. He was able to make even more people with with the paper, with the magic that he has. And in the end, it's kind of the story is supposed to be like a metaphor for the artist that can create characters that they can identify with and help compensate for a somewhat lonely life. They feel that they're not connecting with people. They can connect with their imagination, and I think that's a good lesson to learn. And it's an interesting story. Art-wise, let's back up here to the beginning. It maintains the same consistent tone here of the solitary artist and his imagination, how he interacts with it, and how he spends one day of his life with his imaginary creation. There's a few things that Martin tried out, like that unusual face angle. And there's really nothing here that's sticking out as being too awkward or clumsy. It's a very well-rendered, well-designed series of sequentials. He knows his way around perspective, around doing buildings. I would say, to sum it up, keep working, and definitely study from the model as much as you can. Do like draw from photographs, or we get out of the COVID-19 era. Can attend life drawing classes, drawing from like a physical person in front of you. That's about it. I hope that's been useful. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the tutorial and the critique. As always, go to my shop.timsnotebook.com to pick up my comic book, Mayfield 8, parts 1 and 2. And soon to have parts 3 and 4 up there as well, since that a successful Kickstarter happened in February this year. As always, subscribe to this channel to pick up more videos. I hope to get a new one out every other week and go at a better pace now, so that you guys can pick up a little bit more from me and maybe improve your skills. Keep on working and don't ever stop.